Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. According to Ceasefire, Russia unleashed a fierce bombing campaign across multiple locations in eastern Ukraine, resulting in 27 deaths just before a proposed unilateral ceasefire. Russia had announced on May 4th that it would observe a ceasefire from May 8 to 9, coinciding with its World War II Victory Day. In response, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated on May 5 that he had not received a formal request from Russia, but declared that Ukraine would implement its own ceasefire starting 1207 a.m. local time on May 6. However, Zelensky criticized Russia for exploiting the period before Ukraine's ceasefire to intensify its attacks, which he deemed unacceptable. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha echoed this sentiment on X, noting Russia's escalation of terrorist activities hours before the proposed truce. Casualties included at least 12 dead in Zaporizhzhia, 6 in Kramatorsk, 4 in Dnipro, and 5 in Poltava, with injuries reported in Sumy as well. According to Yahoo News, Russian forces launched a glide bomb attack on Zaporizhzhia city in southern Ukraine on May 5. The strike resulted in at least 10 fatalities and 18 injuries. Ivan Fedorov, the regional governor, reported that the attack ignited fires, engulfing numerous vehicles, shops, and industrial facilities. Additionally, residential buildings, car repair shops, and car washes sustained damage. This incident highlights the ongoing devastating impact of the conflict on civilian areas in Ukraine. UPI reports that the U.S. military announced late Tuesday it killed 3 individuals in its latest strike on a suspected drug trafficking boat in the Eastern Pacific. This incident brings the death toll from the Trump administration's military campaign against alleged drug smugglers to at least 190. It marks the 56th strike in the campaign, which began on September 20 and has involved operations in both the Eastern Pacific and Caribbean, resulting in the destruction of at least 59 boats. U.S. Southern Command stated that intelligence confirmed the vessel was engaged in narco-trafficking along known routes. The administration justifies these actions by asserting an armed conflict with 10 drug cartels and gangs designated as terrorist organizations by President Trump. However, these strikes have drawn significant domestic and international condemnation, with critics, including the UN Special Rapporteur on Counterterrorism and Human Rights, describing them as unlawful use of military force for law enforcement and extrajudicial killings. NHK reports that the Natural History Museum in London has repatriated the ancestral remains of 7 indigenous Ainu people to Japan. The handover requested by the Japanese government was marked by a ceremony at the museum on Tuesday. Japan's Ainu-related policies minister Kakawada Hitoshi attended, witnessing the museum's director present the remains in white-wrapped boxes. Some of these remains were excavated in Hokkaido's Yakumo and Mori towns, while others were donated to the museum in 1866 by a British consul and had been held for 160 years. Although details are unclear, they are believed to have been taken for research purposes. Okawa Masaru, executive director of the Ainu Association of Hokkaido, expressed deep emotion for his ancestors' long journey. This marks the 4th such repatriation from overseas, following a return from the University of Edinburgh last year. The remains will find their final resting place at a memorial site within the Upopoi National Ainu Museum and Park in Shirawi Town, Hokkaido. 联合早报 reports that British shipping media, specifically Lloyd's List, indicates that vessels stranded in the Strait of Hormuz harbor deep distrust towards the U.S.-led Freedom Plan, designed to guide ships through the vital waterway. Despite U.S. Secretary of State Rubio's assertion on May 5th that the joint U.S.-Israel Epic Fury military operation was complete and the Freedom Plan was a new, defensive mission to ensure safe passage, insurance companies and shipowners remain unconvinced. They contend that the U.S. statements do not align with the actual security situation in the Strait and question the credibility of the Freedom Plan. Their primary concern is whether the U.S. would intervene if their vessels were attacked by Iran. The report highlights that the Strait of Hormuz effectively remains closed, with no commercial shipping tracked on May 5th, contradicting US War Secretary Hegseth's claim of a protective dome and hundreds of waiting ships. The International Maritime Organization and the Baltic and International Maritime Council, and Purple Beam, have also urged extreme caution and warned of potential renewed hostilities. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.